Greetings in the name of Yahuwah and His Son Yahusha Mashiach. My name is Malak Shalomo. Today is the 25th of June 2024. It's 5:04 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'm gonna do a trade recap here on my trade on ES today. So let's start off here. Wait. All right, so that's the P&L for today. All right, should use some brighter than that. Let's use red. All right, so that's the P&L for today, 556.25, and it was basically a Camarilla R3 and central pivot kind of breakdown trade using the second upper deviation band as resistance as well. So all of that kind of coupled into my trade as resistance. So let's go to my charts here on TradingView. So let's start off with the Camarillas. As I was saying in my trade setup video, Camarillas are in an overlapping lower value relationship. Hold on one second. And let's point that out here. So Camarilla R3 today was at 55.30.25 roughly, right? So average 55.30.25, and Camarilla S3, well, Camarilla R3 moved down from prior day, so let me just put that into focus. All right, cool. So Camarilla R3 moved down from yesterday, didn't move down past prior Camarilla S3, so that's an overlapping lower value. Camarilla S3 moved down today as well to 55.03.75. Let's average that as 75. It says 73 here, but I don't know why they make these kind of calculations when that's not even a tick. So 55.03.75, right? And so overlapping lower value relationship, we're looking for some rejection here at Camarilla R3. Now throwing on the pivots, let me just get closer into price. Now pivots are in a lower value relationship. Let me just touch on one of that. You can highlight the pivots. All right, so prior day's central pivot range was right here, right? And now the range is here. So you can see the central, the pivot here was 55.28.50. That's the central pivot. Top central is 55.22.75, and bottom central is at 55.34.38. So that's roughly 55.34.25. Let's say 25. Right. So let me just open this up a little bit. So we're looking for a little rejection here. We have a golden pivot zone, right? Let me just open it up. Right, so we have a golden pivot zone, resistance, Camarilla R3, overlapping lower value, and CP lower value, right? So this zone right here, that's my Camarilla golden pivot zone. So I'm looking for a rejection somewhere here with these two resistance levels kind of corresponding with each other, creating some kind of confluence there as a resistance. So let's open this up. Let's see here. Right, so this is where my trade took place. Where's the open? Open is here. So at the open, we moved down, came down to, let's see if there's any, let me throw on these VWAPs. My bad, yo. Kind of all over the place. So came down here to this lower deviation, the green line right here, 55.19.50 at the time. Had a little push up here. We came up here, tested the Camarilla R3, had the rejection, and came back down here to the top central which is at 55.2275. Had the bounce off of there, came back up. So at this point here, well, I took a couple losing trades here, tried to go long, tried to go short, got chopped up. You see there's a lot of wicks in this little area right here. Let me just point this out. So all those are stop runs, got caught up in these stop runs, and had to recoup with this decent trade I took from this Camarilla R3 and golden pivot, central pivot breakdown. Right, so at 11:40, that's when I took my trade, and it was somewhere around here. So it was a breakdown of like 52.2775. That's where I entered. So I entered somewhere around here. So after we rejected, or I think it was on the first candle, somewhere around here. So 52.2775 was my entry. Entered, how much was it? I think it was five micros, but I entered three separate times. So it averaged out to 55.2775 right here. And you can see that was coming off of second upper deviation rejection, Camarilla R3, golden pivot zone, central pivot breakdown, and breaking down the first upper deviation. So rejection of the second upper deviation, breakdown of Camarilla R3, breakdown of the central pivot, and then breakdown of this first upper deviation here. You see that red line right there? So I waited for a lot of confirmation here to jump in this trade, and because I got chopped up here before, so we went into profit, came back up. My stop loss was 55.3225, somewhere around there, and it came back up, didn't stop me out. Eventually started to break down here, and I exited around, let's see, it was somewhere here. Right at 55.2025. So right around this area right here, 55.2025, had this big sell in here, and I exited my trade right there. So let me just give you a look here over the execution. So these are the three entries right here. 5 micros, and I actually entered one more time as we popped up here to almost hit my stop loss, but then we got this rejection doji candle, entered here again, and this was the exit right here. Right, so that's at 55.20, right, and this averaged out to be 55.2775 as the entry. This ad here was at 55.3050, right? So got that drop right there. Let's go over to Bookmap so I can kind of show what I was looking at in the order flow. So this is the second upper deviation test right here, right? So this purple line, that's the second upper deviation. Right, you can see Camarilla R3 is right there, and wait, hold on. Right, so this was the actual entry right here at 58.2775. Where is it? Yeah, so right here, as soon as we broke that first upper deviation, so let me point this out again. Second upper deviation, right? This is the first upper deviation. So when we broke down first upper deviation plus the pivot level, that's when I entered. So it did call back on me, it did pull back. And let's go across here, tighten this up a little bit. So it did pull back up to the second upper deviation here again. This was around 12 o'clock. That's when, let's see, somewhere around here I entered again. right? So as we popped up here, you're seeing like some exhaustion on the buy, on the ask. We have this heavy liquidity right here as resistance. Price is avoiding it. Exhaustion on the ask again. Maybe I should change that to white this time. Yeah. So exhaustion on the ask right there again, coming down all the way down. So somewhere here I entered again as I showed you on my trading platform here. Let me just go back over. Right, so you can see that that was the entry there at what time? 12 o'clock, 5:30, 50. So let's see if we could find that. 12 o'clock, 5:30, 50. Right. 12, 12, 12. Right, so it was, because that's a 5-minute candle, so it kind of rounds out from 11:55 to 12 o'clock. So this was the trade entry right somewhere here. 55:30, let's see. 55:30, 50. So it's somewhere around here. Right, so somewhere here, when we broke down from this second upper deviation again, because we had that doji kind of candle. I think this is what's represented as the doji candle on the entry. So when we broke down, got the rejection here. As you can see, these are absorption happening at these levels, right? So you see 360 contracts. These are happening on buy bubbles, right? So all of this is confirmation. See, that's a buy bubble, but that was a seller absorption in it, right? This was a buy bubble, seller absorption in that bubble, right? So it's showing you where we're absorbing the buys. So the buys aren't getting to come up to push above certain level, the certain level of like the second upper deviation plus this this heavy liquidity here, 360 on the ask, right? So eventually broke down here to first lower deviation, retested, rotated here a little bit, tried to push back up to second upper deviation, failed right there. Heavy selling starting to come in. Right, we had the VPOC, the migrate up to 55.27, roughly, yeah, 55.28, right? And it came from 55.22.50, right? So when it migrated up, got that seller right there. Selling continuation after this this little retest, had a retest right there, that blue bubble. Sellers taking control again, bringing it all the way down, right? Another thing to point out too is that liquidity is being absorbed as we push down, right? Let me just open this up a little bit so you can see what I'm looking at on Bookmap. Right, so we're hitting this liquidity here and we're running through these orders, right? So 338, they're getting absorbed, right? As we push down, we're going through that liquidity. Now on the other side, on the ask, right? So that's the bid getting hit. Now as soon as we break those, or as we're coming down, you can see the liquidity here is stacking up on the ask, pushing down on price, right? Right, so all of that liquidity is pushing down on price and stepping down. Not much, right? Not heavy liquidity, but the liquidity on the ask is following price, is not leaving any gaps for like a vacuum, right? So this here was a little vacuum. You see they pulled. Let me just open that up a little bit. This is where price could get chance to push through. Right, so you see they pulled all this liquidity right here. That's how price get a chance to push through, and where they stop, right at where liquidity stop pulling, right? And then on the flip side, the orders on the bid are stepping up with price trying to support their move, right? Now you're gonna see they came back up to VWAP here and we broke down again. Now you can see there's a liquidity vacuum here again. They stopped stepping up at this level here, right, at 55.22.28, 55.23, sorry. And then we had this vacuum here where we could just fall through, right? No liquidity to stop us. Now there's a liquidity resting here and he got hit, right? So the sellers are strong enough to take out these guys on the bid, right? And as we move down to the second lower deviation, and I believe, yeah, that's where I stopped out at 55.20, 25 or 55.20, which was right here, kind of exactly on the second lower deviation. So that was my exit right there, right at around 12:30. Right, so let me just open this back up, and you could see the entire trade was from here, right? This breakdown here. Oh, let's use something. Let's use a different color. I think we'll be able to see this. Oh, hold on. Right, so entry was right here. Breakdown of this. You see that line going across, dash purple line. That's the first upper deviation. Breakdown of that. Breakdown of the pivot, the golden pivot zone. Entry right there. It pulled back on me. Entered here again, broke down, and we came all the way down here to the second lower deviation at 55.20. So this was the trade right here. From here to basically here. Right, so it wasn't too bad. Recouped some losses, and it was a cool little trade. I haven't gotten some really big trades in a long time. I'm getting this week. I'm getting these kind of 5, 6, 7 point trades. I was catching these 10-point trades a while back, and I don't know what's changing right now, but maybe the market is a little more in rotation a little bit, so it doesn't have no decisive moves like moving straight, like trending down or trending up. So I was catching some reversals using my bowling green strategy, which is a reversal off of the first lower deviation, which is this one right here. So when price comes down here, right, when price comes down to this first lower deviation, builds and breaks, builds a little accumulation here and pushes back up above this first upper deviation. Let me just use some arrows, maybe that's a little better. Right, so let's say price comes down here, get a little bounce there, a little accumulation, and then breaks out here. This is where I'm taking my trade right here. Right, this is where I want to enter and take that back up to at least first, well, sometimes second upper deviation, but then the first target would be first upper deviation. So not really getting those reversals right now. The market is kind of rotating, looking kind of bearish a little bit to me as well. So I might do another trade setup video for tomorrow, so I might break down that a little bit more. Let me just see some here real quick. Let me just show you some real quick. Right, so on the daily chart here, I'm looking at this. This is a monthly first upper deviation on the VWAP. That's R1 right there at 55.16.25. So anytime now, today we broke down from this first upper deviation. I was thinking, well, we could get the full breakdown, come back down to VWAP, right? Not to say it would happen today, but the beginning of like a breakdown. But then we're getting these bounces here, pushing us back up. So I don't know what's going to happen here at Camarilla R4. That's the monthly Camarilla R4 at 55.43. So that's a zone I'm looking at. This is the second upper deviation at 55.54. So maybe price wants to retest the second upper deviation again. And that's actually on the quarterly VWAP. This one here is the monthly VWAP, and that's heading up to R2 already at 55.99.25. So First, let's see if it contends with this second upper deviation on the quarterly VWAP, right? And let's see if it has the buying power to push back up there, or if we start getting some rejection at Camarilla R4 tomorrow. I'm kind of thinking we're going to come back down here though. This is the monthly VWAP and monthly Camarilla R3. It's around 54, 51, 54, 56, around there. Alright, y'all, so it's Malak Shalomo. Y'all trade safe and stay blessed.